Hi everyone, I am here to go over how to find the slope from a graph, whether you have points shown on the graph or you don't have points shown on the graph. So first of all, whenever we are finding slope, which is what our learning target is or our goal is today, we have to keep in mind that what slope is. Slope is the change in y over the change in x. Okay, we could say vertical change over horizontal change. We can also say it's the rise over the run. All of these are really good things to describe slope or rate of change. So that's what we are trying to do with these graphs in this problem. All right, so I'm going to kind of go over some success criteria or steps, if you will, on how to find the slope of a graph. So our very first step is going to be to find two good, pretty points, okay? And what that means is that we want them to be whole numbers, not fractions. All right, so the second thing that we want to do is we want to find the vertical change or the change in y, which we sometimes will call the run, not the run, sorry, the rise, right? Vertical is rising. And then once we find the rise, we want to find the run, which is the change in x, or the horizontal change. That's going to be the run. Okay, once you have that, we're going to put the change in y over the change in x. So we'll put rise over run. And then lastly, we want to determine the sign, right? So we want to know if it's positive or negative, okay? All right, so let's take a look at this first graph on the left. The points are already on this graph, which is so nice. So when we're finding two good points, we know it's going to be one of the points that they already gave us. There's 3 points that they've given us on this graph. We have one here, it's teal, we have this blue one, and we have this black one. So personally, I am going to pick the two that are closer together, so that way I have smaller numbers to work with. So let's see, I'm going to have this point here and this point here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to make kind of a staircase, right? So we always start with the change in y, or the vertical change. So I want to know, how far up do I have to go? Well, I have to go up 1, 2, 3. So my vertical staircase was 3. My rise was 3. Now I have to do my run. So how far over do I have to go? I have to go 1, 2. So my horizontal change, or my run, was 2. So now my fourth step is to put the change in y, or the rise, over the change in x, the run. So my rise was 3, my run was 2, so I get 3 over 2. And then lastly, we determine the sign. Is it positive or negative? Well, going from left to right, because we always read left to right, so starting at the left, going to the right, my graph is going down, which makes it negative. So it's a negative slope. All right, now let's go over to our next example. In this example, the points are not shown on the graph. However, that doesn't mean that there are not points. There's actually an infinite number of points on this line. I just need to pick 2 pretty ones. And what I mean by pretty ones is that they are whole numbers, that they're not fractions, they're not decimal. They're happening exactly where those grids intersect. So they're going to be nice whole numbers. So I'm going to put one right here at 2, 4. I'm going to put another one down here at 1, 1. All right, so now that I've got my 2 good points, or my 2 pretty points, we want to find the change in y and the change in x. So we're going to do our staircase. So starting with our rise, we have to rise 1, 2, 3. We have to rise 3 times. So that's our change in y, or vertical, our rise. Now we have to do our run, which is our horizontal, or our change in x, and we only had to move over once. So our run or our change in x, our horizontal change, is just 1. All right, so now I'm ready for step 4. Put the change in y over the change of x. So 3 over 1, which simplifies to just 3. Now look at the sign. Is it positive or negative? Well, from the bottom, like going from left to right, because we read from left to right. So if I go left to the right, I'm traveling up. So that means it'll be positive. So it's a positive